Welcome to Gospel Greetings, practical encouragement for living out your faith in the marketplace. Today, we start a new 3-week series called One Brings One. Last week, we did a summary of the Fall Leader Impact Retreat we had at Camp Iowa. From Hebrews chapter 10, let us not give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. Spurring one another on towards love and good deeds. At the retreat, we had attendees, speakers, lots of discussion time, and all the volunteers, speakers, MCs, funders, administrators, and tech folk helped us meet God and each other in an intimate way. You see, it really was good to be meeting together and to spur one another on in Jesus. This week, we start our series called One Brings One from Matthew 24, verses 10 to 14, where Jesus is talking about an approaching day. He says, "At that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold, and this gospel of the kingdom will be preached in the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come." One Brings One is a major emphasis for Leader Impact Canada this year. Why? Because anyone tracking church attendance, ministry impact, social concerns, etc., can see that the body of Christ is having less and less impact on our society, with corresponding and upward climbs in crime, immorality, etc. Millions in North America have left the church or now simply identify themselves in terms of faith as having none, None, and they are what some are calling the nuns. Yet, in the middle of this exodus from churches, what Dr. David Jeremiah calls the Great Resignation, we have open doors everywhere, and leader impact is growing and spreading to near 100 countries. Do you think God is saying something to us? How about your business? Many of you have shared that one of your greatest challenges right now is finding qualified staff. Many have left the workforce. This labor and skills shortage is deemed a major business risk. Darren Hardy agrees. In a recent podcast on recruiting, he gave strategies to overcome this great resignation at work. Hardy says personal referrals are key, and especially from your existing top performers. Then you must describe exactly what you are all about. See, most cannot describe what they do in business, but can you describe what leader impact is all about? Like my kids used to say, yeah, my dad sits around in meetings talking to guys and drinking coffee. That's not very compelling. But you could say that we help marketplace leaders discover the relevance of biblical faith to their personal and professional lives. We do this through life-changing small groups. In a recent survey, people asked what brought them to their ministry. The average was 83% came to the ministry because of an invite by a friend or relative. The Billy Graham Association did another survey, and 82% of non-church people said they would come to a ministry with a friend or relative if invited. This is so encouraging. Many of our friends and colleagues would come out to a group just because of their respect for your relationship. We may be afraid to ask, yet they would likely come. Will you pray about who you could invite this week?